Alright guys, it's WooGs here. This is a project I've been working on for a little while here. This is my Sigon set T2 Dclone kill. Um, so let's just get right into it. So we're going to pop the vision here, cast my Venom, Blade Shield. I'm putting on my Malice. This is to reduce the armor of Dclone. Unfortunately he cast Firestorm, so I'm going to have to kind of kite that a bit. I do almost no damage with this weapon out. Because of no pierce. I have no pierce on this setup. So what I'm doing is just reducing the armor per hit of Dclone. I need about 26 connections, and then I get his defense to 0. So now you see I've swapped back to my Sigon shield with my claw, and now we're just going to straight DPS. So the reason we do that, Bargain reminded me of it. He did this for his kill maybe 3 seasons ago. I'd have to check. It was quite a few seasons ago. Could have been more. But essentially, with that Malice, you can get Dclone's defense close to 0. I mean, you can get to 0, but you don't have to get it all the way. And this allows you to get a 100% chance to hit, instead of only having about 80. I had 82% chance to hit normally, so now with the Malice tech, I'm get him down to 100%, which means every single blade that's going through is going to hit him, which is very key. The hardest part of this, I mean, the build was generally hard to begin with, is the fact that I have no dwarf stars and very low life. So every time he shoots out his fire wave or the firestorm, it really chunks me down. So it's kind of very difficult. So that's why I'm kind of kiting here. Now we're on the first Skelly wave. The Skelly waves are actually not that bad. They have very low life this season, but Dclone has insane life. So what we're doing is we just kind of want to kite around here and just throw at our sentinels. The first one's obviously the easiest one. So we're just going to kind of burst that down real quick. You see Blade Sentinel was kind of lagging there and kind of put me off the screen. You have to be very careful to resync quite often with Blade Sentinel. I think it's because it's like a minion, so since you're spawning so many minions, it kind of lags you out. I think that's why it happens, but you definitely desync very often with Blade Sentinel, so try to reuse it as much as possible. Um, since I'm doing like this circle kite here, I want him in a good spot. So when he's against a wall or I'm in the top area, it's not easy for my mouse to move around that area, so I don't really want that. So that's why you see me run away in certain scenarios. Um, if I had more life and more PDR and stuff, I could kind of stand still and kind of throw out blades, but I don't have that luxury, so that's why I'm doing a full kite. This is the first wave here. Once that's over with, we get right back out. But you can see there the fire that comes out kind of takes me down, I think like a third of my life every time, so it's very frustrating to get hit by that. Kiting around a pillar definitely helps, because if he does it at the pillar stage, you can kind of block it. You see there, he was against a wall and casting the laser, and there's no way for me to really do damage and kite that in that position, so it's just best to kind of run away there. Here, I don't think I should actually cast any. I should just straight run away from that laser in that position, because I took about 2 or 3 pots worth of damage and only got off like 3 or 4 Blade Sentinels, so that's not even close to being worth it. Since you don't have as much invis fire anymore, you don't really need to worry about steady DPS. You can kind of dodge a lot of damage, so I should be focusing that a little bit more, but it's just a late night for me, so I don't know, not much excuses. This phase is a little bit dangerous there. I did it in the middle, which isn't great, but what you want to do is kind of just get away, target down the archers first. You can kind of just throw the sentinels towards the center here, and you can kind of kill most of them. You see I'm just going to try to look where I'm seeing them there, like there in the middle, here again, and kind of just get them down. They can hide pretty well, which is very frustrating, especially with all the blade on the ground, so you got to be pretty careful about that. We're going to drop our cube, it's a good time for it. With that phase done, we have a decent amount of pots, but the fight does get harder as you go. So, you're close to the halfway mark here in terms of damage, but to be honest, you need more than half pots left to handle this portion, because you're going to take a lot more random damage from meteors and way more bone spirits and stuff, so there's going to be a lot more fire patches on the ground. You see here, the laser doesn't really go through the pillar there, so you can kind of stand still behind there, but you can desync pretty easily with Blade Sentinel, so I don't really like doing that aside from the beginning of the fight with the initial Malice. And then we're on to the second cold wave here. This looks like a safe spot. I'll move over a little bit more so I'm a bit more confident. Refill our juves. We can recast our um, Venom and burst of speed so we don't have to worry about it later. Um, you saw I quickly swapped back earlier in the fight to get my Malice off and my Venom Claw back on, just so when I had to recast Venom it was available. That was just kind of something to consider if you're doing the Malice deck. You could just throw your Malice on the ground if you want after, if you don't want to deal with it. But I didn't think it was necessary. It costs you 3 pots, but to be honest, it's more than well worth it. Bargain reminded me I was being stupid not using it because, you know, from 82% to 100% chance, like, you know, that's well worth it over 3 pots because you're definitely going to kill much faster. The fact that you're not missing 18% of your kind of shots, you know, math there, but it's pretty high value. And just know that you're always going to do damage. You can kind of plan your damage around more. Okay, here we had a good start to this phase, but I had a lot of damage here I have to worry about. The other issue I have is I think I have 24 poison res, so the poison mage guys are actually doing a lot of damage. You see my health just eating down almost like in Rathma from the poison damage, so that's, you know, a bit frustrating to deal with, but luckily they were all grouped together, so I could just kind of spam my blades to kind of get them done. I have another archer or 2 out, but I'm just going to get my pots down because it looked like a safe spot. So now all that we have left is one more cold phase and then just DPSing Dclone. So we're going to try to take this a little slow. I don't want to be in that corner there. You don't want to be in positions that you know, put you in a bad health deficit, like where you're going to get hit a lot. So I'm just kind of trying to move him where I want. Like against the wall here isn't great either. He's not really cooperating. You do have to find a minimum balance because if you just keep running away, at this point you are going to take damage. So you can't just continuously run away. You got to get to the spot that's kind of acceptable and move on from there. You see this spot is pretty good now. But there's a lot more meteors on the ground, so you're kind of watching him, watching the spirits, and watching the meteors, which isn't the easiest thing to do. And then once he phases here. You can dragonflight to position, but I didn't think I needed to. This is why I like that pillar. You see I was in fire, and I was confident that I could move without getting hit by the cold wave. At the 6 o'clock pillar, I find you don't really have that luxury. You kind of have to just eat. The fire patches, I like to try to avoid them when I'm standing on them, and I think that's the safest pillar to move afterwards. I might be one of the few people that actually like that pillar, so don't necessarily take my advice on that because most people use the 6 o'clock pillar, which is the same strategy. You just have a little bit less real estate to move, but it's a little bit easier to align yourself because you're just putting yourself in the center of the screen and moving straight up or down. So here what we're going to try to do is, it's a weird thing of kind of trying to conserve our rejuves, but also being very careful to overpot if necessary if you look like damage is going to kill you. So I'm okay to sit around half health, but about a third health I'm just going to rejuve because I can die to a random meteor plus fire. So I just want to be a bit careful about that. That was a bad spot to run near that pillar there. So I think I'm just trying to get this fight over with, so I'm like, okay, I'll just kill him down here, but it was getting a bit dicey, so I was like, okay, I need to lock in a bit here. And there we go. So I had 2 pots left there, chugged one at the end, but that's kind of it. So I'm going to switch over to my other audio in a second here. Thanks for watching, guys. Here's Alright, seeing my audio didn't work, so I'm recording this again. So see if I kind of see what I want to talk about here. So if we go through it first, this is the Sigon set kill for Dclone. We'll go through the kind of gear that we used here for this kill. This was a project I was working on. So we start here, Sigon armor with 2 facets and a Vex, -5/4, 3 random crappy facets in the helm. Just kind of makes that work there. 2 facets and PDR slam on the shield. 2 max on the boots, 2 max on the belt, random fire res on the Army there, 2 BKs with PDR slams. This gets us to 42% PDR because we're using a Mage Slayer with that 15% PDR and 3 facets inside, -5/4 facets in there. So nothing too great on that, but that's kind of a unique weapon. And the Okazan Amulet +1 with Cannot Be Frozen. That kind of hits our max fire as we need. And then we have 2+6 Venom claws on our offhand, so no CTA, and that's the Malice there for the -100 monster defense per hit. So that's what we're doing to kind of reduce Dclone's armor down to 0, equipping it quick there. Some all-res Grand Charms, Poison Large Charms, 3 Shadow Discipline Grand Charms, Torch, Annie, some random charms there. You can see how bad my Poison res was. Venom, we got 10.5k Venom, or sheet damage, you'll see it's about 12.2 with our facets being considered on the main hand and 48% pierce. Max Blade Sentinel, Max Venom, you see the damage there, Max Cobra obviously, and then we get a free Dragonflight because of our Claw, and we max Claw on Dagger Mastery, and then we dump the rest into Blade Shield. You definitely need a lot of Poison Pierce for this fight. You know, he has 75 PLR, so you definitely want to try to get as much as possible. And that's, yeah, so appreciate you guys. This was the kill. Save the whales. Donate to your local Marine Wildlife Foundation. And have fun out there, boys. Take care. Cheers.